Hello everyone, welcome on this lovely day in this lovely bunker. I think let me take a sip of water. It's time for the closing thoughts of the Shadow Erdtree. So kind of like how Destiny was kind of shortened with the DLC. This is kind of the same purpose. Nothing relating to the base game. Nothing like really. If you had to ask me in terms of gameplay, in what the changes were, the biggest change was the Shadow Tree fragments, the Skadoosh Tree fragments, the Skibbity Tree fragments, the Scadoo Tree fragments. Those were like the big gameplay changes because they involved around a new system of leveling, so that you didn't go into the DLC being OP as fuck. And yeah, that's pretty much the newest thing. Gameplay wise, it's changed for quite a bit. Or no, it's not changed. It hasn't changed really. Um, but it's still the lovable gameplay that I adore in games like this. So yeah, gameplay has not bothered to change. The other thing is probably kind of, I'd say the other thing is music wise. The music has always been bangers. And I would recommend probably the Divine Beast, Rolana, Bale, Midra, and the final boss. Mesmer is an honorable mention, but Mesmer, I don't think peaks as high as those other ones. But Mesmer also has a good one. Um, so yeah. So, anyways, let's get to it. I just want to say that I just adore running around in the world of Elden Ring, and I loved the DLCs world. Um, I think really there's so many secrets to explore, or there's many secrets that you can miss here and there. And there, especially when I missed in the More Ruins, there was a secret that led to the other side of the map that can lead you to the Cathedral of Menace Mitir, and I also could have missed the Gaius and Scouter Avatar locations. So within that, uh, the world is huge and explorative, and I loved like going through into the areas. Like this place is bigger than Limgrave, but it's around I think same height as Lernia, but with much more thought and effort put into it. Of course, Lernia is meant to be like kind of another like big area to climb into another big area, which is Atlas Plateau, and Lernia is also home to, well, the Raya Lucaria, whereas this place is home to really everything. It feels like you actually are exploring big areas. It feels like you're traversing onto some of the cooler areas and stuff. And like traversing in here is great. And I love how Scatter Tree Fragments advocates for exploring more because then you're exploring everything. Instead of going through the place in one like fucking train ride. So yeah, I really like that. I would also say that I adore the areas a bit. You got the ancient ruins of you have the fucking Shadow Keep, which, not don't say anything related to the Destiny 2, 'cause I get it, Destiny 2 Shadow Keep. No, this is Elden Ring Shadow Keep. And Elden Ring Shadow Keep was great. I loved kind of like the castle formatted to eventually a huge library, which I think was really provocative and really unique. It added a lot, and I really liked it. I really liked what they got going for it. It was enjoyable. It was unique. It was in the palm of your grip. It was great. It was a great time. So I liked that, and I think um, I really do enjoy like the atmosphere, but I don't think it was really the atmosphere that touched me here. It was how everything looked that touched me here. I really like how everything looks. You know, you have like the golden like plains like Atlas Plateau, but like at a darker shade. You have the jagged peak, which is just which while like not artistically looks any great, it's kind of like this feeling and like this presentation that you're going to meet something at the top and you're gonna get fucking be scared and tormented probably. And but you see how like beautiful kind of like the field looks, but then they're like, ah, you fucking dragon comes up on you. Honestly though, Bale is actually not that big compared to many dragons. Kind of interesting, honestly. Um, so yeah, you have that. And then like there was fucking the finger runes, which are so weird, you know, it was like so mysterious, you know, kind of like off like unsettling, you know, kind of like a presence, you know, it was like a thriller, you know, going through it. And then like once you actually fight Mateer, you know, the most hideous fucking thing on this blue trap bubble in this fucking world, and it's one of the most depraved things you can look at. Yeah, I don't want to look at Mateer, I think, another second in my life. But I think it works. I think it works well. Outside of maybe the frame drops that I experienced in that fight, you know, but yeah. So there's all that lovely stuff. Outside of that, great looking world. Great looking world. So I think you've all came here for what I probably will talk about the most, you know. It's obviously the lore, you know. I'm a lore expert on it, and the lore is actually probably the messiest thing about this DLC. I will say it makes sense. It all connects in a way. Does it feel annoying? Yeah. Kind of everything like was pushed into this whole thing submitted by like at the start, you know, you hear more backstory about America's like, oh damn, what the Hornset did was fucking terrible. They're both equally terrible people still, you know, like getting that like message. You're supposed to be better, not be on the same level as the Hornset America. But it's interesting how everything kind of connects, how everything was made and you know, everything was compounded into each other, you know, it all connects and all that with the gate divinity and stuff. And yeah, that's how Elden Ring came to be. But you actually came from the actual kind of side of the story. The best part of this DLC's story is learning about Mesmer. Mesmer really is just a forgotten, abandoned child in the end, and just is wants to rid of it all, you know, like just wants to move on, but he can't. It's the only thing he feels like he can do is just slaughter and slaughter instead of actually doing something he may enjoy. And that's just it's just saddening, you know. It's also probably like somewhat hinted that he is the oldest child of the group. We're unsure about who his father is. You know, I get there's like symbolism there about his hair with Radagon, but then it just kind of like changes into like this darkened form a bit, you know, like it seems like it's not all what there is supposed to be of him having the same hair as Radagon. Like something doesn't connect here and there. But it is our biggest lead, but whether or not he actually has a different father is unsure. It's also vastly hinted that him and Melina are sisters, brother and sister. Um, and he's the older one, she is the younger one. Yet again, it's kind of unsure where we're there within that realm, but the biggest you can get at is the flavor text on Mesmer's Flame or Mesmer's Kindling item you get from defeating Mesmer. The other thing is their faces and whatnot. It's distinct on Mesmer, but you can see like a little mark covering his left eye and stuff, and that is interesting to say. It was somewhat the same thing with Melina, you know, same scarring uh below her eye. Really unique and interesting. But where it really kind of gets messy is kind of everything put into perspective of everything. Beat the allegations, which is great. It's the best part about this whole kind of like mess. But then everything from that point on end is like either questions or just kind of like, really? It's like, what did Radon do to for Mikola to be like, all right, you're not gonna be that guy. I'm gonna force you to be that guy, you know? Because Mikola loved Radon, not in a platonic way, I'll give you that. And uh everything that's like formed around Mikola's plan and like his Thanatos Gambit to everything kind of just didn't root itself. I liked everything to do with Saint Trina just telling you and asking you to stop Mikola, considering that you slayed my patrician knight, I want to send you there to kill Mikola, put him out of this misery that he'll be granted and stuff. And it's great, it's awesome. It works. I like it. But everything everything sent is also connected to the base, but in a way it's like not a lot of it could have been rewritten in a different way when you were following Mikola. I think just the added factor that Mikola, he wants this age of compassion, and obviously we're there to stop him. But what what's like what was really needed or advertised by him being like this person that needs millennia to like he needs to freaking brainwash everyone, alongside Melania in some sort. Like I know it's what he does and it's what his job is, but that already leads into just kind of like everything that's like folded into one linear route. Like this is the way that has to be, like this is just this whole thing. You can't see me, but I'm doing this like fucking one positioning route. There's no separation or no different path. It's one leaded path. Help like for Mikola to just do everything. Like it just kind of like it kind of is just like what? That's all that was there. And then the final cutscene is just reiterating what we knew about the game. It's like just like seeing it from spoken from himself. It's like that's cool. So what now? And with that what now is going back to the base game and beating the game again. Yeah. And rightfully telling what is our sanction, our lordship. And yeah, that's the lore. Yeah, I think it's kind of like messy in places. Yet again, we don't know what Verdon really was wanting to do or why he refused anything or what happened. Um, the biggest hints is that he wanted to continue his passion of war, which is a Rodon thing. But other than that, there's nothing else you can get from that. So let's talk about the bosses. I really liked a lot of these bosses. And the standouts were Rolana, Bale, Midra, Mesmer, and I will add in the honorable mention of the Putrescent Knight, and maybe Radon himself. Those are the honorable mentions. As of for the other ones, mods, remove them from the game. Thank you. Alright, okay. If you like any of those bosses, that's cool. I didn't really enjoy all of them. So, let's start off from alphabetical or not alphabetical order. Let's start off from the order that I fought them all in. So, our first is the Divine Beast. I liked the design of this boss, and then he kind of just aged a bit for me when I went to fight him again on other characters. Like, the camera obviously is the weakest thing about this boss, but I think everyone knew that already. The design is great. The attack pattern is great. I like the attack pattern, but it's gotten weaker over ages where just some moves don't feel like connected. Like they don't like make sense to one another. Like you don't even know what the fuck he's doing at times because either the camera's shaking or it's just like, oh, that hit a hitbox. All right. Like the times you can tell is when he's like, whoa, and he does that spin, and he does another spin, and he like lands, and he just like uppercuts his head and like causes a shockwave, and then he starts breathing that smog gas. Like this is like all like that's cool. That's cool. But like everything else is kind of like is weird, doesn't make sense. I do really like the lightning ice and wind transitions, all unique attacks, like Divine Beast is not at all by means a bad boss. He's like still a decently good boss. But it just feels like he ages, like it becomes a little more boring and stuff because he doesn't really have a big attack pattern. Um, like he gains it with all of his other forms, but not many moves really in the end. Like Wind just like straight up grabs a tornado, and that's the only move you get from the Wind phase. But and like Ice, I think is the most irritating thing ever. It's not lightning, it's ice. Ice sucks. And yeah, like the music obviously is the best part of the Divine Beast. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Whew. Whew. I love it. It's a jam. It's great. I would check it out. So yeah, that's the Divine Beast. Next up we have what's her face? Rolana. Because I found Bale first before Rolana, but I didn't fight Bale because he was gonna kick my ass. Rolana is one of the two hardest bosses in this DLC. Um it is not Mesmer, it is not Bale. Those two are not part of the squad. Mesmer is a hard boss, but not to the level of Rolana and the final boss. So Rolana is in a very aggressive, very dancer kind of feeling. Like the Dance of the Boreal Valley. Kind of like that feeling. And a bit of movement too. But not in the sense where she heals off of every move that she gets off of you, and takes more damage because Melanie does take more damage than Rolana. I learned that. Rolana is pretty much Pontiff Sullivan, but on steroids. And Pontiff Sullivan also did a huge pile of cocaine in Dark Souls 3. Um, and pretty much Rolana moves like a ballerina, like a dancer. And pretty much every move is made to be elegant and made in an interesting way, and stuff. And some moves are bullshit. Nah, that's not true. Rolana, I think, has honestly, one move that is dodgeable, but is just annoying. And it's the double swipe with her left shorter sword that will cast straight in flames in her second phase. That move is just so out of nowhere, and it just hits me all the time. Luckily, the damage on it isn't like much to be like, "Ah, this is stupid." No, because that's far from the truth. But it's just annoying. It's like an annoying like button. Like it's like how Smash Bros is. Like take my character ZSS for example. That jab is the most infuriating game to get hit by because it comes out so quick, and it just is there to pelt you with damage. It's like, oh, I get nothing off of it because I'm getting jabbed fucking 3 times and I get jabbed again, or F tilt, kind of like in that sense. Same thing with Verlana. That's just that one move. That's it. It's really that one move I have a care for. But everything has like a rhythm to it. It's like each move is just like, oh, okay, you 1 2, you 1 2 3 that, you 1 this, you 1 2 3 4 eventually. It's like everything has like a distinct number pattern because it's all about understanding the timings of the rolls and stuff. You don't have to like just roll to her right most of the time. No, like there are moves where it's like, oh, left, right to get the biggest optimal dodge and no damage taken whatsoever. It's like that's great. It's interesting, it's unique. It's like Rolana is like so programmed like well within these moves. Sometimes she just kind of like walks a bit, like she takes a break from it all or just sends in her like projectiles and stuff. And the one projectile move that I just could never get used to is that 4 wave dodge in her second phase. She sends out 4 waves and then a fifth final wave, which has a telegraphed, which is telegraphed. Like that one's understandable. And like the first two are understandable in a way, but it's so weird to dodge this move because you either dodge it or you get fucking kicked in the ass. Like it's just weird. Like I would say just like dodge to the left most of the time because it feels like right I always got hit, but left was just more prominent in the move set. But yeah, that one was just weird to where it's like her other move, which she does like a dance of flames. Get up close to her on the second transition for her to do that, and you get to prepare. As long as you don't get hit by the flames erupting from the ground, and you should be okay. She gets more aggressive in phase 2 now. She's no longer like walking, nah, she's running. She's jogging, like she wants that ass. And in the case of that, like she's pulling out projectiles, I always just run. I know she's gonna run for me, but like she's always gonna do an attack. She's always gonna try to do an attack when she's got that all those fucking bits and pieces and all of that stuff. Just all of that. It's like okay, it's time to run. and then the moon phase dodge, which or the moon attack, which is like her big attack. This is where like jumping is so fucking good here because you just jump, and then you jump, and you jump again. It eventually becomes one of the more easier moves to time, unless you're playing in the session or helping people out, because somehow that move becomes disjointed, and yeah, that's not fun. But solo wise, I'm attack. It's better to dodge and whatnot. It's so neat. It's all of it is just great, and the music's great, and just like the armor and the weapons. Unfortunately, the weapons are some of the most fun things, but they're so hard to build into because they're fucking built into intelligence, and faith, and dexterity, and a bit of strength. Where are you supposed to build into? Two places. That's already hard enough. Getting the most use out of them requires a character that's like level 300, and I don't think you're gonna be meeting level 300s online. So yeah, it's just kind of like all that jazz, but it's still cool. I love the fight. I love the armor too. I wish you could remove the blue like cloth cloak thing, but it works. It's a great fight. She also has a breastplate. Don't look into the Reddit forums about Rolana because I sure haven't, and I don't want to know about it. So yeah. Oh, so yeah, the music's amazing too. Okay, the other thing I love about Rolana. Ooh, I love. Actually, let me go and make a capture point real quick. Let me go to Google real quick while I talk about this. So, actually, no, we're done with Alana. Never mind. Okay, so the next boss that I fought was. What did I fight next? I think it was Mesmer. And Mesmer is the best boss in the DLC, and arguably the best boss in the game. Mesmer is a very like everyone talks about how fair Mesmer is, and I like definitely agree with that. But I feel like that's like everyone's prominent like point about him being great. No, I don't think that's the case. I think the best case of Mesmer is is not the atmosphere, the presentation, and the move set of himself. Like, yes, he is hella fair and he's hella great too. But really, like, the best part of Mesmer is just his moveset. His moveset is great. Everything about it feels just so, like, neat, well thought out, and, like, makes you play a specific way that makes the fight feel more fair and builds onto itself and is just more, like, unique and just everything's great about it. And, like, it's done so well. Um, and my favorite point of it is just like how pretty much when you're fighting Mesmer, you have to be worried about those flames most of the time because they linger on behind you, so they hit you from behind. And something you don't want to get like called out for. So you have to keep it onto him. You have to like fucking be close to him at all times, and so like he gets like fucking freaking fracking, hit up that way. He's like, oh shoot, he is willing to fucking like freaking fisticuff me, more so like bladed cuff, but fucking you get up to his face, you play aggressive, and it's kind of like what you learn from Rolana. Rolana's all about aggressivity and whatnot. Mesmer takes his time. He's more calculated, and that calculation comes to those flames that come from behind. So you always want to dodge in and play with him. Fucking beat his ass. Fucking get those hits in. Like every time he's throwing in his attacks out, he always has set combos and like set attacks. So like everything just kind of like builds on pot onto itself, and everything about Mesmer is just being fucking um it's just being so it's just plain turns, It's being close and plain turns. And that's all the fun I get from Mesmer. It's just everything about it being prominent and like everything that's like close and its activity is one of the best things you can do about a boss. and Mesmer just nails it. Like his moveset is so fun to play with. And yeah, like everything works to itself. He had that one move where he takes a longer wind up, of a specifically faster move, and then he puts his fucking glaive or his spear onto the ground and just fucking chucks that thing to your face. It is great, and that move I could not figure out how to dodge for a while, but I loved it, and I would say that Mesmer had a great case of just being thought out. But obviously, it's not over yet because the second phase is also amazing. The second phase is easier, in my opinion, but no doubt, did I enjoy everything about the snakes and how he wasn't kind of like a right card thing. He fucking full on out fucking took everything with a grain of salt. Like everything was just so oh, I'm now going to, transition between 2 forms, and you gotta be careful of these 2 forms. Also, I can just send snakes out at my will as well, you know? It's like, "Oh, wow, he can do that shit," and now, now you gotta play on the ball, You gotta play like you fucking mean it, and now it's like you gotta position yourself now. Now it's all about aggressivity and positioning because those snakes are fucking ridiculous at times. And pretty much there's that one move where a snake comes out really fast, and then his super move where he's in the middle. Like you can't go into the middle. Now you gotta dodge 20 fucking snakes upon you. And all that stuff is just sick. It's great. It's freaking woo! I love it. I love it to death. The presentation of the fight is amazing. Everything that builds onto it from the staircase, it's just it's meant to feel as if it's tiring. And Mesmer is tired as fuck. He wants to go on vacation, and he's never gonna get that vacation, pretty much. So, yeah. Let me ignore this real quick. I'm changing this. But yeah, everything about that, it was just yeah. Everything about it was great, and yeah, I really I really liked it, what Mesmer had, and, I just think it was really, neat, but, presentation building up to how tired of a boss he is, by the words of his choice, and, eventually he grows on to anger for his mother, they're all about, "Mother, why would you do this?" And then it's like, "Ah, fuck this chick." Because he goes by, he name drops her and, "A curse upon thee," and it's like, "Oh, damn, man," fuck. They try to make you feel for America, but nah, you got fucking Mesmer. And it's like, well, now fuck her. Like I said, Mesmer's story and his boss is the best thing about this DLC. They peak with fucking Mesmer here. Mesmer is just an all around great boss. And look, I don't agree with the notion that he's one of the hardest bosses, but he is hard. But he's nowhere near Rolana or Mordon. Or base game wise, I would say Melania. Or if it came to first playthroughs, Malekith as well, and maybe Mog too. So yeah, he doesn't come to that range, but he is hard, but he is the most well thought out, satisfying boss to ever fight in this game. It's no oh, being the boss you get instead gives me relief. No, none of these bosses are like that really. I get everyone gets tiring, but it feels like it goes it's over blown. And Mesmer is the perfect thought out way. And you think this guy's overtuned, here's my counterpoint for overtuning this. Everything that Mesmer does isn't a calculated notion where he moves, where he fights. I already said his move set also goes around to being where you gotta be close to him, you gotta approach him. If you just fall back, he's just gonna hit you with the flames. And the flames don't do much, but it's all about getting up close to him. And that's the same thing for another boss later down the road. But yeah, Mesmer is all about fucking getting up close to him instead, because he can outrange you, but you can outfight him by just getting up close and out damage him. He doesn't have the most health in the DLC. Um, apparently he has a ton, but not. It just didn't feel like much. But at the same time, we had the freaking Shadow Tree fragments, so we were fucking all built up on fucking weed at that point. Actually, it wasn't weed, you know, it was more so like coke. We'll use the terms of coke and then fucking what is it, steroids, later on. Um, but pretty much, like you already had some of that good stuff. You know, you run that monster energy going into Mesmer. You know, you probably will die early, but hey, I mean, yeah, at least you fought Mesmer, and pretty much like any case of like it being hard to tell on your screen, I didn't get that feeling at all. Like the flames were pretty distinct, you know, like I could tell, oh, those are his flames, and they aren't covering up my entire screen, you know, like that's not how I feel. And his fucking cool ass like fucking attack at the first and he carries on to second phase, you know, where he has that combo and stuff. Like there is a many patterns you can do, or there are many forms of roll you can do there. Like every one of them has a unique. I decided to dodge in on the fucking like his fucking, like, super fast, like, but, like, low hitbox fucking jab spear move, you know? He does them at multiple times. It's like the 1,000 spear cuts kinda thing. Like, you I dodged in onto that to dodge it, and, yeah, it worked out, you know? Because I fucking fucked with his fucking hitboxes. So, yeah, great, like, Mesmer, fucking fantastic boss. Best in the DLC. Arguably best in the game in the whole game, I would say. So yeah, it's Mesmer. So now we get on to Okay, see ya. So Romina. Uh my friend said I was cooked on this boss, and I think the answer was I was not cooked on Romina. I didn't I don't have everything from Romina, so Romina's kind of gonna get skimmed through. Romina looks fantastic. Romina looks the coolest boss in this game. The fucking scorpion tail, the fucking centipede, and then herself in the middle with her fucking cool ass pole blade. It is literally called a pole blade. It's amazing. It's literally like pole blade of the bud, you know. Saint of the Bud, like the design and everything about her is fucking fantastic. But the fight itself, I think her weakest attribute and why and what they could do to at least buff it to make her more difficult, you know, like give her like a bit of a buff. Because I think a lot of people agree that Romina was unfortunately one of the easiest bosses in the DLC, arguably the easiest one. The best like what they could do is increase her damage. Like her Scarlet Rot, in a sense, was also a little weak, but her damage was just like pitiful. Like it felt like I was the fucking boss. It's like, yo, you gotta hit me more times than I gotta hit you. Like, what was going on within that? She also has the quickest like stagger phase. It's like she gets out of stagger so fast that you gotta be on like the right side to actually do something, and that's kind of funny. But other than that, like her moveset is awesome and stuff, and I love it. And like just she bounces everywhere, and the butterflies can be like, whoa, that's kind of scary. But once you notice that they're out, it's like, oh, I gotta stay away from them. You know, like you can see those butterflies. You know, they're distinct enough and unique enough to see that's like, oh, there's the butterflies. So, pretty much. I would say that Romina was one of the easiest bosses I had in this game. A lot of these bosses were not too bad for me. Um, but yeah, I think she was the easiest one. I think she was the easiest remembrance boss, you know. Not the easiest boss, but easiest remembrance boss. And that's just kind of saddening because I like her music too, but I also just loved her like battlefield, her fucking moveset. But in the end, it was not meant to be because I got through like Ramina's second phase in my first go. It was 3 tries. Yeah, that that was Romina. So now we kind of like separate from Romina and we go on to the Scatter Tree Avatar. And the Scatter Tree Avatar design wise is really cool, but I think battle is just kind of like eh. Like everything about it was just kind of like really? Like really? Just really? I fought him late at night, you know, and I was recording it and stuff, so I had to be quiet around in that point. And obviously those vine attacks are fucking stupid, and I could never get the full feeling of his part. But it's kind of like the Romina effect, where you just kind of like got way easier the more I fought him in those attempts. And yeah, everything had like a wind up or the fucking explosion move can suck a dick. Um, but yeah, that's Romina. Wait, not Romina. That's the Scoutry Avatar, really. Like, everything about it, like, I love the presentation of this fight, or how, like, the fight kind of, like, folds into each other, like, how it phases into its stuff. Like, it's getting weaker and weaker, but, like, what else can it do except explode and kill me in the process, you know? Like, I don't like that one bit, you know? But that's part of it, you know? And the three-wave explosion, it's like, are you fucking serious? Three explosions connected to each other? How much fucking determination does this boss have to kill me while it's dying? Um, a lot and stuff. And yeah, it also has three phases. The only boss to have three phases in this DLC. Yeah. I want to say another thing is that this DLC didn't really have anything reminiscent of a DLC of a duo boss, except for one, and even then, that wasn't much of a that didn't have too much incorporated to itself to be in a duo boss. And so, we would after Scatter Avatar, we would get on to the fucking Commander Gaius. First of all, the charge move sucks. Second of all, how did I beat that boss under 10 tries as well? Because I was worried about fighting a guy on a fucking pig ready to beat my ass, but really in the end of things, he kind of reminded me a lot about Radon. He's Meteorite. He's fucking an Albinuric on a pig, which is actually sick as hell. But like the charge move is annoying. I don't think Torrent would have helped because I would have, gotten charged moved, and he had that combo, which I think I got really lucky because he never did like that combo move like more than once on the attempt that I beat him. And yeah, I will take that dub as I will. And it may just be the fact that I'm Uchikatana unsheathing, but hey, I didn't change my weapon, you know. Like I didn't do that, which probably honestly I could have. But I didn't find Milady. I didn't find the Great Katana. I really did like miss out on the weapons department for me in this game. But other than that, Commander Gaius's actually moveset is actually pretty nice outside of the charge move. Like everything is just kind of like neat with his freaking hog and stuff, and like it's all neat and stuff. Like the combo move isn't even that bad, but it's weird notion. It's a weird combo notion. It's like some of his moves in that combo actually like take a millisecond more, like take a few milliseconds more to dodge instead of just spamming dodge and stuff. It kind of works around that, and I could never figure that out because he never did it more than once in my attempt that I beat him. The like other like gravitational like move that he did to set his face too is also not too bad. And, he also had another one, that wasn't too bad. The fucking ones where he sends out the meteorite projectiles is actually probably one of the easiest moves to dodge because they're all, like, coming at the same time, so it's like, "Oh, dodge, like, to the left or to the right." Whatever phase where they're facing you, and they miss you entirely. And, yeah, like, Commander unfortunately, the music like, same is, like, reused from from the base, so, F tier boss, but yeah, like Commander Guys actually has a neat moveset, like, and I do like his design a lot. Other than that though, kind of basic, you know, here and there, but not too bad. Not too bad, but I may have to give him average or low B, I would say. Like I said, I will write like a tier list of the bosses, as a video separating itself, which I think would be cool. So it'll be me explaining the bosses probably more in detail, since I am kind of skimming through them a bit. Or I skimmed through Romina and Scattertree Avatar a bit, so like seeing the footage of how I actually see would be nice. So then we got all Shadowkeep done, like Shadowkeep's done. So with that in mind, we had a few more bosses left before we could go on to fight the final boss. So starting us off was the fucking Putrescent Knight. And this is one of probably the cool, and this is in terms of design is actually kinda a little, but in terms of how it was made is amazing. It's a fucking slug horse! How much unique can you get than a slug horse? A horse that comes out of a fucking s- sludge on the ground that you're stepping on, and it's just a slug horse. That's sick. And the weapon itself is also sick. It's crazy cool. I love looking at it. Even though I probably wouldn't use it at all, it's just great. And the move set and like the fucking everything he's got about him is so cool. Like just this boss is only losing really to like Romina in terms of design. It's like or like in terms of looks. Like holy hell, Slughorse is so cool. Slug boss, Slughorse, Putrescent Knight. Like fuck, I'll give him a name. Fucking Slug Slugon. Sludgeon. Sludgeon. Sludgeon, Fucking that. Sludgeon Putrescent Knight. Fuck. I will work with that name. Hella cool. And I will also yet again go to more detail about these bosses, including the final boss, because I think people would, if people saw this and would be like, wait, you fucking actually think of him that way instead of thinking of him that way? Yeah, you're about to figure out why. So yeah, Sludge on Putrescent Knight is hella sick. I love the fucking feeling that this guy gives me. Like everything just to fucking like, the arena is sick. The fucking design or the how he looks is amazing. I guess, like, you can say there's 2 forms of design, his moveset design and his design. But pretty much, like, he moves around the arena, which is his weakest attribute, just, like, moves around so much. Like, I get that's part of, like, how he is. He's a slug horse and stuff. But fuck, if you made that fight, like, a actually well thought out duo fight, because that's the closest we're gonna get within this DLC of duo fights, this would be easily one of the top 3 bosses in this DLC for me. Because just, like, incorporating more into him within that slug horse, because he has a move where he just spins around and stuff coming at you, and then his slug horse is just like, "Hey, man, let me get on this action too," and just charges you like a fucking like the dastard he is. It's like, dude, they actually that's like one of the most genius moves ever. Because not only can you dodge all of it, but now you gotta look around, you gotta expand your FOV and like your field of view, and it's just like, oh, I gotta look more like this, like not like go onto the monitor like I am, even though you can't see me. And now I'm going in back behind, the monitor so I can see both of them. I'm like getting closer, I'm getting closer and farther. Like, that's just great. I love a move like that. And like just everything about his fucking dance. And like I'm talking so positive of him, but what is my problems with him? Well, when I ran into him, I kind of realized that I was doing so much damage that it feels like he needs a damage increase. I feel like the scatter tree or shadow tree fragments just made this boss kind of trivial in health, which is why I didn't take longer on him. I feel like I really should have found him earlier, but I didn't. I just kind of like found him later on, like in the second half of the bosses. And that's what made me sad, is because I could have definitely gotten more, because like his health, he kind of just gets eviscerated kind of early on. Like in the second phase just feels so easy. And him moving around arena is also a bit irritating. And also the second phase moves are also a little wonky. Just like the flames that spit out, you know, like, they're kind of a bit weird, like, either they connect or they don't connect. It's like, I'm clearly stepping in it, but I'm not getting hit, or I'm, out, or, like, I'm jumping my time, but then I get hit in the air. Like, the hitboxes on that is kinda hella weird. It's actually, like, a cool move, but it doesn't do much for itself, in terms of how it seems. So, like, otherwise, like, a boss that could have easily been one of the best of the bosses, I will give him an honorable mention because he is a cool fight. I like him a lot. Slughorse is cool, but not on the level of Rolana, Mesmer, Midra, and yeah, Rolan and Bale as well. So yeah. So, uh, let's get on to it. We're going to Matir, and guys, I might be the first to say that Matir is the weakest DLC boss in this game. I did not enjoy my time fighting with Matir because I felt like outside of the portal shenanigans, which I actually could have made for like some cool ass things, Matir fought me with fingers and elbows. and smashing on the ground with a fucking knuckle, like human things could do. I mean, it's very human, you know. I could just like tap on my desk with just my fingers, you know. Oh shit, they're getting hit by that. Oh, and the other thing is like, oh, I'll fucking slam my knuckles on my desk and I'll elbow you like fucking they do in wrestling. Like, hold up. Is that really all? Is that all? She also sends out her finger creepers, you know, which I don't need to face finger creepers in the middle of the fight. They're already fucking annoying. And like that stupid ass laser attack, it's clearly dodgeable. But how? How do you dodge it? It just lasts for too long, man. Like, it is ridiculous. She also has that fucking spinning move that I think is even harder to dodge. Like, what do you do? I don't know. It just comes full force at you. It's like I gotta run away and shit, and then dodge to the left. But I feel like it'll still hit me. You know, Matir is just like in terms of lore. Matir is actually fascinating with lore, but I don't know much of the fact that it was the finger speaking to her and not the greater will to give her information on it. So like she was clearly a villain that's also not dead because she got sucked into the portal. So there's clearly more they're gonna do with her. I hope. Because that first fight was not done in great. You know, I think she is probably the weakest boss in this DLC because as much as grotesque and unique she looks, there is not much here to be done. The arena also looks great, but the arena was pretty much the reason why my frames tanked into the garage that got hit into the wood chipper that would eventually get flown out into becoming a couch from plastic. So yeah. So that's what's here. So now we're down to 3 more bosses, you know. More time for me. Midra, which is really just Pikra. Pikra, who unfortunately his weakest aspect of him is that he's he's not hard. Midra has killed me a few times, obviously, but just that form to factor in that Midra like isn't on that precipice or level of lane that took me a while because Midra just like in terms of moveset and like elegance, he hits hard, but every move is telegraphed in a way that it's like, oh, okay. To feel like the most untelegraphed move is that damn fucking command grab because I got hit by it once and never again, but I could not tell and I could probably tell you that I couldn't tell that he was coming in for that charge because he does it fast, you know. That's like his fastest fucking move and stuff. But he has the spinning, moving torpedo of doom. That's yeah, it feels like it doesn't really connect once you dodge it 2 times. And like the stun move, which does have a disjointed hitbox, but if you run away from it, it doesn't hit you. Um, and then my dogs are barking. Shut up, bugs. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. For that. But moveset wise, he does move elegantly, and it's really neat. And it's a frenzied flame boss for fuck's sake. The lore behind Midra is so cool, and like the frenzied flame in itself, it already gives you the feeling that well, this guy's gotta die because he's gonna get out and fucking burn the world. So you know this is your best bet of just killing him and stuff. The music is also incredible. Midra's music is just haunting. The entire experience is just so dramatic and just so beautiful. And it takes from the Song of Despair from the merchants and stuff. Like the boss himself is one of the most coolest fucks in this game. Easily one of just so satisfactory. And just like the fucking eye that comes out of him, the design, you know, like everything about this boss is so cool and so fuego. And like, yeah, really, the only thing holding him back is his difficulty. Not really a difficult boss in terms of how I had to fight. But yeah, I enjoyed my time with Midra. Yeah. So what's next? It's Bale. Bale is front loaded back to back because he's one of the 4 hours bosses in the DLC. Um, Bale is crazy cool. The fucking follow up and just the journey it takes to Bale, everything leads up to him. Egon, the greatest, the goat. Fucking everything to them. The presentation, just the fight. Oh man, you're about to fight one of the sickest bosses in the game. And look, it might just be me, but I never really had an issue with the camera here. I felt like I was onto him most of the time. Bale is a fucking beast, man. I love Bale. And just like I would say Mesmer, Bale, and Midra are the top three of bosses in the DLC, with Rolana being an honorable mention. And so far, probably same with fucking Putressa Knight being an honorable mention of Merlana of fucking Radon being an honorable mention of Putressa Knight. Yeah. So I would say probably I would say that like what Bale has going for him is just like the fight and the atmosphere in the fucking movie that he creates with this fight. He is the best dragon fight in the game, and I would say he is up there alongside Midir. Because I'm sorry, Prestigious Sax is also hella cool, but I didn't like the first phase as much. The second phase really carries Prestigious Sax for me. And that's kind of the same thing with Fortis X. Yeah. But Bale is cool all around. So just like the fucking movement, the sass in him, like just everything about Bale, and like the lore is fucking awesome too. He chose to fight Prestigious Axe and it ended in a stalemate. Man, he took off two heads fucking from fucking Prestigious Axe and they're still biting onto him. And then in his process, he fucks up fucking his Prestigious Axe's two heads. And what Prestigious X did is cut off his fucking like wings and shit, or like much of his wings, and then cut off his fucking leg. And fun fact, his bruised leg is also a like a huge damage point outside of his head. And I just focused on his head because that's all I could get to. But yeah, like everything about that was just sick. It was so cool to fight Bale. And like just it's all cinematic. The moveset's fair and whatnot. Even if he kind of like goes off the rails and just starts attacking or just starts moving. Like he goes crazy all about that. But like the fucking moveset he has here is so like thought out. It's so like wow, they put so much detail to this. The fucking laser of doom move is just so like cool and stuff, and it's dodgeable, even if it's really hard. And like the fucking he has forms of his attacks like upon it. Like he has like that dagger that can become an even stronger dagger, and just like everything about it, it just is so cool. And Bale just like grows and just like not like grows in like in terms of like how he's growing actually, but like just grows the more I fight him. Just like oh my god, it's so fucking cool and shit, man. I love Bale. And with that, we're getting on to the final boss of the DLC that I discussed. I discussed Divine Beast, I discussed Lana, I discussed Mesmer, Arena, Tree Avatar, Commander Gaius, Putress Knight, Matir, Midra, Bale. Alright, here we go. Yeah. Make sure I'm on track. So the Tree Sentinel, is a classic. I'm just kidding. Okay, the final boss is Radon. Now, yes, it's a little disappointing to see Radon. It's just kind of whatever. But at least in the factor in that we get a cool ass first phase. And Radon is Mog sized and also fucking brainwashed. Because I can tell you, if he wasn't brainwashed, like hella like maybe he himself is just like, wait, what the fuck? But not everyone's gonna agree about fucking disliking the Age of Compassion because fucking let it in like that. And you know what I did to that bitch? I slayed her. Fuck. Like the gang all fucking destroyed her ass. And Dryleaf Dane, you didn't have to join her either, man. You taught me these cool ass moves, and I want to fucking keep them in. Um. So yeah, fucking fucking Radon's fucking hard. He's the hardest boss in the DLC. Maybe the hardest boss in the game. It's either him, Rolana, or Millennia. But maybe Millennia and Rolana are somewhat tied with each other, and Radon's harder. Radon is hard as hell in this part. Pretty much. He has a cool ass move set, I would say. Maybe except for the cross slash because it's dodgeable, just not in the ways you want it to be, and it may be a bit huge form of luck on your side as well to dodge it. But he has patterns. He's got that cool ass meteorite attack and stuff. He's got fucking drip. He's fucking moving. He's fast. No, but not on like Rolana fast space. He's not fast as Rolana. I would say. I would say he's not as aggressive as Rolanda, honestly. It's like it feels like Rolanda's still the most aggressive boss in the DLC, arguably the entire game. But he himself, what he has instead is range. And what he does with that range, I don't know. And distorted hitboxes and motherfucking also just lots of health. Um yeah, Radon's got a lot. He's got a lot. But what I love about Rodon really is kind of like set in the setting, the presentation, and like kind of like learning him. Learning him and defeating him is the most satisfying thing so far in this game. It's great. It is just an experience all around. Everything that like has made up to this moment to show that you are the one, to be the ruler of all and stuff like that. You are in your prime, It's you in your prime against Prime, supposedly with Prime Radon. Epic. Satisfying, even. Luxurious! And catatonic. Actually, I don't think that word works. But yeah, everything about that, just like it builds into itself. It's neat. Like I said, the lore is not great, but who cares about lore at a time like this? It's time to slay Radon. And yeah, after a while, first phase actually doesn't get too bad. Like I said, cross slash can do a dent to you, and like some moves come up fast, but it's really not too bad. I think like as you grow more into it, like you see what he's doing and stuff, you get more used to it. You get more kind of hectic to it, Like after your first try, fucking Frank, um, you do great. You do great on the first phase, and then we get on to second phase, and all hell has fucking become loose. Second phase is without a doubt way harder than the first phase. The fucking light pillars are crazy. They come from almost after every move. Uh, Mikola's hair is hairy. It's very hairy. Yes. Honestly, I did not have much of a problem with the light pillars. They hurt, but they are not Mikola's hair of luscious locks that go off everywhere and stuff to say, oh, well, fuck yourself, because you can't see this move. That's not, yeah, it's Mikola's hair. That's the problem. Remove that. Remove the body of Mikola. Uninstall Mikola. Damn it. Um, but yeah, it's that and the cross slash. That's what's really it. Honestly. Yeah. So yeah, that's really about Mikola. I can't see things when it comes to Mikola. It's not a blinding light show. That's not really the problem. It's just Mikola. Like if you just tune it out, like with Mikola and stuff, make his swords, I don't know, bigger. It may be a problem because like then his swords will have distorted hitboxes because they'll look big, but they'll actually like only hit you at short range. But that's fine. I want to see his moves. Yeah. Or just decrease Mikola's luscious locks, like you could do that too. So yeah, that's really kind of it. So Mikola is one of the most, or no, Radon is still pretty fun in this phase because it's so challenging, but it's somewhat understandable. And even then, that big move that I try to get him to do and stuff, the big laser cannon and stuff, like that's perfect for me because I'm getting my blood flames on, I'm getting all my buffs on, I'm ready to fucking bleed this bitch. And I'm still using Nagakiba. I'm like, y'all, I ain't using the shield, I ain't like that. I don't need a shield. I need fucking one big ass Sephiroth sword and fucking a nice meal. Particularly really like some fucking chicken fingers and stuff. But yeah, pretty much, Rodon will take a while. The clone moves are probably some of the most hardest moves to dodge, but there are ways to dodge them all, and I will give you a quick tip. The meteorite clone move, you just need to dodge you just need to hold shield 5 times or 4 times, and then dodge to the left on the fifth one, then go fifth one, then he's going to use the shockwave, dodge the shockwave, get your attacks in, and that's the first way to go about it and stuff. You dodge the meteorites first, as you normally do. You hold shield on your weapon 4 times, dodge to the left, then dodge the shockwave next, taking a little, just like a little, like bunch of milliseconds, but like afterwards, not like a full on second, kind of like that. You'll get it when you like see it a few times, obviously. And then we have his next clone move, the one where he does it to the right, to the side, He winds up, he does it to the right, he's gonna be like that, he sees that beam of light. you walk to the right or you dodge to the right because then, like, if you have the camera on, it'll distort itself and it'll move you to the left when those pillars hit, and you will take no damage at all. If you dodge to the left, you're dead. So pretty much that's kind of the thing. So that's pretty much that one. Then he has another clone move that really is just like whoom that comes from you from far. Then he comes to it. Just dodge left. Or just dodge left and then that's it. That's it. That's it for that one. And then he'll like go up to the air. That one's the most weird one because you're always expecting the meteorites one instead of just him going up into the air. Because he will do that and then you just like boom and boom. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of the moves are still similar to themselves. I love it when he's doing that combo move because then he sends out the shockwave and he's still waiting the same amount of time. That's the same thing. He has a new grab move and stuff. Also, fucking perfect. It's not hard to dodge. It's literally him just like, oh, I'm going in. Oh, I'm in the air. I'm now gonna go in. It is like, oh, that's perfect because that's another free hit. Everything about this fight is going back and seeing the amount of time he takes for each thing. Some moves he doesn't take long. That's fine. Just like wait it out. Wait for those moves that he's gonna do because he's gonna do them a lot and like such. The meteorite is the same thing. You hit him again because he's doing that shockwave thing. You hit him within the grab move. He's fucking trying to grab you. You're good to go. And if you get grabbed 2 times, you lose. And yeah, but unlike me, I never got hit by that grab thing twice, in a row. So I'm better. And yeah, just like there's so many moves that give you time to hit him for like two, or like for me, I just use unsheath to do much, or I use the blood box to get even 3 hits in. It's like you can also get lucky too. Maybe you can get 3 hits in instead, and he'll do a slower active move, and you dodge that immediately. It's just all of it's there. It's really like Mikola's hair and the fucking cross slash. The cross slash is fucking annoying. When he does it, it just like you just have to be like you just gotta make peace with it. You gotta make peace with it. And if you do dodge it, you're like, holy shit! Take the time to capitalize because he also takes long on the cross slash to eventually act and then move. It's all there in the manual. And in the end, you take out Radon after he gets to his final like thing, which is really just him doing the meteorite attack, which is easier than the Radon meteorite attack in the fucking Star Scourge Radon fight. So yeah, it's all there in the manual. And it's ready for you. Sit there, bam, you got it. And yeah, is Radon easy that way? No, he's still fucking hard. He brutalized me for over 40 hours. But I will say again, not too bullshit. Overtuned, you can make an argument for it. I will not fight you there. But bullshit, no. I do not think Radon is bullshit. I think Radon is fucking hard, but not bullshit. That is still a good fight. He is still a good fight. Is he a great fight? Probably not too much because eventually it kind of just gets like a little like tiring and stuff because of the endurance. But I still had all that pent up energy from when I first beat him, and I was fucking living the dream after that. Hella great. Ooh, what a fight! So that's all the fights in Elden Ring. So yeah, now time for generally my thoughts on it, and yeah, I think this DLC was the best thing I've played this year so far. I haven't played everything I've been wanting to play this year, but it's fine. It'll take time. Um, I just I go back and I'm glad to say that this was my game of the year for back in 2022. I played both this and Ragnarok, and I loved this just a little bit, just a tiny bit more than Ragnarok. Because I loved Ragnarok too. God of War Ragnarok was a fantastic game, and so was Elden Ring. And Shadow of the Erdtree further puts my beliefs into thought. I adored this DLC. I don't understand what people make it out to be for why they hate it, because it's not because it's like, oh, I don't understand why you hate it. It's amazing. No, it's not that. It's kind of like how they articulate it in a way. Like there are things they can do. And then if they make good points, then that's understandable. It's respectable. I understand why you don't like the DLC as much as me. I love this DLC. Um, yeah, and I played this around the time in Final Shape 2 on my console, and I actually really like Final Shape. Do I enjoy what Bungie's doing right now of Destiny? No, But I liked Final Shape DLC a lot. I liked this one a ton. And yeah, I gotta say, Elden Ring is fantastic time. With it all being kind of like set in stone and it getting a few more patches here and there. Um, this is one of the best games you can play currently. It's a fantastic time. I recommend it, especially for a first-time Souls-like player, or like if you're a first Souls-like player. My first one was Dark Souls 3, so I got yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, by the way, I still love Dark Souls 3. I love it a lot. It was just my first playthrough. I got fucked around a lot, but yeah, I recommend it a lot. This was a great time. Thank you so much for coming by. It's Lovely Day and Lovely Bunker. Whether the future of what I'm going to do next, maybe I continue for Tales of Berseria, or maybe I do other things. I still got the tier list to make of all the bosses. So yeah, thanks so much for coming by. It's Lovely Day and Lovely Bunker. Peace, peeps.